RVBN, the Rich Video Blog Network, home to weekly NFL predictions, great personality profiles, top 10 list of everything and anything, professional wrestling video blogs, sports video blogs, and a whole lot more. RVBN, the only video blog that matters in the internet. A collection of my work is on Facebook and YouTube. Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Wednesday, November 9, 2016, around 4:32 in the morning in Billerica, Massachusetts. It's about 45 degrees outside and cloudy. Some rain showers in the afternoon, gonna be in the 50s, but a damp day, and it's November, so some days we get this. Some news to report on the RVBN Newswire. The Montreal Canadiens beat the Boston Bruins by the score of 3-2 last night at the Bell Center. The Bruins cannot beat the Canadiens. They're a bit like arch rival, and it seems like the Bruins, don't play good against the Canadiens. Maybe soon. Also, Mark Lombardo got re-elected to his fourth term as state representative in Billerica, Massachusetts, by beating George Similaris. Question 1 in Massachusetts was defeated. That would have added a second slot parlor to the Massachusetts. Question 2, to expand the cap on charter schools, was defeated. Question 3, to ban it's for animals, was passed. And question 4, for legalizing marijuana, was passed. And the voters in Arlington, Texas have voted to have public money spent on the new stadium for the Texas Rangers, which will have a retractable roof, and it will be open in 2021, replacing Global Park Stadium, or whatever they call it. That Global Park Stadium's only been open 27 years. And the voters in San Diego, California did not approve a new stadium for the San Diego Chargers. They have to replace Jack Murphy Stadium or Quam Park, whatever they call it, and there's a possibility that the Chargers are going to be moving to LA. And the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion and WWE Superstar Big Van Vader was in a serious car accident here. It was near fatal, but he survived it, so prayers to him. And early this morning, one of the biggest presidential upsets in history, Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton to be elected the 45th president of the United States. I'm very shocked that Donald Trump won this. I thought this would be a very, very tight race with somehow Hillary Clinton winning it, but it was the states like Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin that normally vote Democrat suddenly voted for Trump, and these states have not voted for Republicans since 1984, when Ronald Reagan swept through the presidential race to be re-elected for president. And 2 more months into Donald Trump becomes president of the United States. Congratulations to him, but it's a little bit of a scary time for the United States. Don't know how his term's gonna be. We'll wait and see about that. And that's about it on the news from the RVBN Newswire. Be back in a flash with your first video blog of the day. I'm back. my first video blog subject of today is my personality profile. Today's personality profile is Hockey Hall of Famer Denis Savard. Denis Savard was a center who played in the NHL for 17 years, mainly with the Chicago Blackhawks, and he was the Blackhawks big-time player in the 1980s. He was what we call the only superstar player. Denis was born in Point Carolou, Quebec, and he grew up in Montreal. He was a big Montreal Canadiens fan while growing up, and he played junior hockey for the junior Montreal Canadiens. He scored 100 goals during his junior career, and he was one of the great goal scorers. And in 1980, the Chicago Blackhawks drafted Denis with the first round, the third overall pick in the NHL draft. There were some rumors that the Montreal Canadiens were going to draft Denis Savard, but it did not come to be. And Denis had a 17-year career with the Blackhawks. He had 2 stints with them from 1980 through 1990, then again from 1994 until the end of his career in 1997. He also played for the Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Denis had 12 seasons of 20 or more goals, 9 seasons of 50 or more assists, 5 seasons he cracked a 100-point plateau, 9 times he played in the NHL All-Star Game. In 1983, he was voted the NHL's second All-Star Team center behind the great one, Wayne Gretzky. Denis Savard was, the best player in the Chicago Blackhawks in the 1980s. He would be a great playmaker. Was basically the only star they had during that time period, and he had some peak years, but he never got to a Stanley Cup Finals with the Chicago Blackhawks because they either had to face the Edmonton Oilers or the Calgary Flames to go to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they were eliminated by those teams. And Denis Savard's skills were kind of declining towards the end of the 1980s, and in 1990 Denis was traded to the Montreal Canadiens for defenseman Chris Chelios, who was the captain of the Canadiens at this time. It was kind of one-sided because Chris Chelios played almost 20 more years in the NHL and won a few Norris trophies and made All-Star team after All-Star team, while Denis Savard became more of a role player with his time with the Canadiens, winning a Stanley Cup in 1993. Then he got signed with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He was kind of the leader for the expansion team. Then he went back to the Chicago Blackhawks for parts of 2.5 seasons, basically as a third, fourth line player, kind of like a spare part. And he retired at the end of the 1996-1997 season with 473 goals, 865 assists for 1,338 points. In the playoffs, he had 66 goals and 109 assists for 175 points. When Denis retired, number 18 was hanging from the rafters at the United Center, and he became an assistant coach for the Chicago Blackhawks for many, many years. And he was voted a first ballot Hockey Hall of Famer in 2000, which that honor was kind of well deserved. A little bit shocking he got voted in on the first try, because I thought Denis would be maybe somebody who would get voted in maybe a couple of years after he was first eligible. But I think being one of the top players on an original 6 team during the time period where the Blackhawks weren't that real good probably put him over the hump. And Denis actually coached the Blackhawks for parts of 3 seasons. He had a record of 65, 66, and 16, being fired a couple of games into 2008-2009 season, and that's when they hired Joe Quenneville as coach, and Joe Quenneville took the Blackhawks to 3 Stanley Cup champions. The Blackhawks were basically rebuilding when Denis Savard was coach, and he kind of molded them into the team they are now. And Denis Savard is still with the Blackhawks as an ambassador. Oh, he's probably one of the top 10 players in Chicago Blackhawks history, and probably maybe one of the best athletes in Chicago sports history, especially in the 1980s. That's about it on him. I'll be back for the second and final Blue Blood of the day. It will be weekly NFL predictions, week 10. I'm a little tired because I only got a couple of hours of sleep last night because of the election. Keep calm, everybody. I'm a Julie Button guy. I was mentioned last night on Julie Button's Facebook chats, and she said that I'm always there. I always join her on Facebook chats, which I always do because I'm a big fan of Julie Button. One of these days, I'm going to interview Julie Button, the cute, leggy blonde in Orlando, Florida. She has the best legs in Orlando, Florida, bar none. Molly Roxon has nice legs. Molly has the best legs in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Elizabeth Hutt's so stunning. She's the best. She has the second best legs in Orlando, Florida. Amy Sweezy's awesome Amy. Amy has his third best legs in Orlando, Florida. Linda Church of WPIX Channel 11 New York, such a rocking cougar's got the best legs in New York City. And Barbara Gibb of ABC 11 has a sweet southern accent, and she's got the best legs in Raleigh, North Carolina. And in the words of Vince McMahon, Brett screwed Brett 19 years ago was the infamous Montreal screw job. Goodbye, everybody.